Egypt 4-2. But if he won here on day 3 of the Scottish Open, up against Kyren Wilson, the head-to-head is 3-2 to Wilson. Interestingly, one of the matches they played was actually in the Q School back in 2012. Kyren had got on tour, dropped off, and Jordan Brown beat him in that. In fact, I was looking back at that. There were 3 events in 2012 in the Q School, and Kyren Wilson only won 1 match in all 3. At that point, things not looking good for him, but of course he did get on a year later and very quickly established himself as a top player. But he is under pressure, Neil, isn't he? This, it's not been a good start to the season, and he wants to be in those events in the second half.
Indeed, yeah, he hasn't had a good season, that's for sure. And you think of him as on the shortlist to win a lot of the tournaments on the calendar. And hopefully, for his sake, it'll come good, because it puts in a lot of hard work. It's an interesting point you make about those Player Series events. I mean, I suppose if you do finish just outside the cut-off, then it is a bit of a slog, really, because there are other tournaments to get points, but anyone in those first event, the World Grand Prix, will get points just for being in it. So it's quite a hard take if you just finish outside of the 32. Anyway, this tournament, I guess, has got to be treated for what it is, and it's a ranking event. It's part of the home nations, and there's some silverware to be won here before any of that.
Yeah, Kyren Wilson was a quarter-finalist last year, lost to Gary Wilson in what turned into a slightly ill-tempered affair, actually. You may remember at the end, but anyway, let's see if he can provide himself with a bit of Christmas cheer and end the year on a high.
Match with Jordan Brown, he did mention quite a big fluke that Jordan got towards the end of his match when they played recently in that international championship. Players don't forget those things happening against you. Sometimes you forget getting the flukes yourself. Anyway, a nervy start from both players, and that was one that you'd expect him to get.
Yeah, the tournament's wide open, isn't it? And I think a lot of people, Jordan Brown included, are sensing an opportunity this week. A few of the big hitters have already departed. Still reliable with that rest.
And that doesn't mean a great deal now that it's all over with, but he played some pretty good snooker during that shootout, didn't he? I know he was having some fun and games, but he went out in extraordinary circumstances on those blues that he and C. Joey were potting. He looked to be cueing superbly. He made a century in an earlier match, got the crowd involved, but generally speaking, he looked quite confident in that event, if you can judge anything by the shootout.
Seven. Eight.
Does tend to make a few alterations to his cue action, Kyren Wilson, when things aren't going well, and some of them you can actually notice some changes that he makes. At the moment, he looks fine. That's generally the way he plays, but there's a few little tinkerings sometimes with this way of hitting the ball.
16.
Going to play up the table from his next red to colour. Well,
17.
he didn't see that straight away, that plant, because he was looking at red to left corner. Only just made it. Tried to stay out. Yeah, didn't need to move that red. As you can see, he's got access to it. Even when, I get the feeling when the black is respotted, it'll still be on.
24.
But he's just having it double checked. Well, according to that, it is none.
Yep.
He can ask for it to be respotted, but I get the feeling it's going to be put back exactly there. So he'll be playing a different red, I think.
Terry Camilleri, the referee.
Good referee, I always think, Terry.
Very small list of players who've done that. Of course, Mark Selby then took half the money by making one in the final.
Now the angle on this blue is a good one, but he'd like to have been straighter just to hold for a red. I think he's going to have to play around a couple of cushions here. Shot that he's pretty good at. Yeah, that's lovely.
35.
Well, he thought he was on that red above the black earlier in the break, and of course it's caused him a few problems being where it is. Black wouldn't go directly on its spot, but now it will go up on the pink spot if it's well.
$50.
Asking for the cue ball to be clean this time. Still that red is not potable, as has been the case all the way through the break.
$58.
Well, he's worked hard for these, but he's getting closer now. 54 in front, colour to follow. So should be another red and a colour after that to make sure.
Well, I think he's on the red to the right. Again, that red above the black stays where it is.
63.
But he's all right there.
So this red should secure it. It's a slight risk, I suppose. Yeah, he's a very determined character, Kyren Wilson. You know, he's got to the top of the game through sort of sheer will, really.
70.
And you'll see it as a challenge, I'm sure, you know, all the tournaments in the new year, because he missed out on playing in the Champion of Champions, which is a huge event. He wouldn't have enjoyed that week. But one good week, as we know, can turn everything around. Maybe this will be that for Wilson.
I think what's not helped him this season is he has lost a few first round matches, and usually he was very reliable against the lower ranked players. But both of the first two home nations he lost first round. Lost to He Jiechang in Wuhan.
84.
Very unluckily, perhaps, in the first round. So, you know, he has not survived any of the first round in the first two home nations. So, just not really how he usually operates.
Yeah, and also, of course, the UK Championship, he was 5-1 up, wasn't he, to Jamie Clark? Lost 6-5. But these are the sort of bits of adversity you have to deal with as a top player. He did enjoy the shootout. I think you're right, you know, the fact he just embraced that, sort of coming into this week almost in a good mood, feeling good about his snooker again.
92.
Well, he'd love to make a century, but he's going to have to cut this black in to have the chance of doing that. And that is what he's done. What a lovely shot.
Beautiful shot. Yeah, a little flick on the brown ball, that helps. I mean, this was a quite an evenly matched contest on paper, more so than some of the others, perhaps. Of course, we had a terrific game yesterday, Judd, against Zhang Anda, but with a...
Yeah, and having played recently against Brown in China, and indeed lost to him, he'll be determined to make amends here. He knows Jordan Brown's confident after his run to the semi-finals there.
113.
But he's been largely shut out here in frame one.
119.
A delightful break that from Kyren Wilson. 1-2-6 the clearance from the world number 9. Great start for him as he attempts to end 2023 on a high. Well, we can find out a bit more about Kyren Wilson now in A Cut Above the Rest. We cross over to the last 32 this evening. We'll have Luca Brissell up against Martin O'Donnell, John Higgins against Ricky Walden on the main table, Dings in action as well, Ali Carter, Mark Selby, Anthony McGill, and young Liam Graham, who did so well, of course, yesterday to beat Ben Mertens on home soil, first season, very exciting for him. He's against Sanderson Lamb this evening. And Jimmy White, who won it was after about midnight last night on the black against Jimmy Robertson in a decider. He's going to play Dominic Dale because Dominic has beaten Jamie Jones 4-3 this afternoon. So a 60-something against a 50-something there.
Terrific pot, that. I don't know if I'd be bothering to put my hand up for that. You knock it in a terrific long red, you'd be disappointed not to be on something. I think I'd be just walk round and pot the next ball if it was me.
Well, this is something that has changed in snooker. I mean, you go back, you know, let's say 30 years, you can just never see that. People apologising for things like that.
Exactly. I understand it with flukes, and oddly enough, if you do watch old footage of matches from 40 years ago or whatever, people used to get the most outlandish flukes and would never apologise. Usually just grin. Oh goodness, well, he had nothing to apologise for there, missing that after that terrific opening red. Thought this might go in off the left jaw, but I think the pockets have just tightened up a little bit from perhaps on day one.
last thing he needed to happen, having seen Wilson start so.
Seven. Eight.
Well, only a short match, best of 7, and if Kyren Wilson could go on and score some here and really apply the pressure, it would be a very satisfactory start. And he's hit that well. It does look good today.
15. $16.
Yeah, he was in a good mood in the interview with Alan, and I guess that trip to Macau, even at Christmas, that's something to look forward to, something a bit different to be doing over the festive period. It's lucrative as well. The fact that he's going there is a reminder that he's in demand as a top player.
Yes, he has a birthday, doesn't he, just before Christmas, 23rd. So it might be a nice way to enjoy the festive season. Oh, that's a really good split. As ever, the cue ball is the key. It just stays centre table. And he crunched into this bunch of reds there. That's exactly how to do it.
Well, that missed pink from Jordan Brown looking even more serious now. Wilson looking confident. He's gone on the attack here, got the balls open, so great chance for 2-0.
Yes, and the black goes past that red to the left corner.
He was looking good, wasn't he, going into the World Championship? He got to the final of the Tour Championship. He played some outstanding snooker in that event. And then he had the maximum against Ryan Day at the Crucible. You think, he could be a real danger man. And then John Higgins produced just a world-class display against him. Vintage Higgins went 8-0 up, 113-2. That was that.
Yeah, and that Tour Championship finally led 4-0, didn't he? And he looked virtually invincible. And then, of course, Murphy ended up playing
45.
not quite as well as in the Players' Championship, but to a very high standard. And you're right, he was in great form. But the Higgins match was, for a 3-session match, was over pretty quickly.
46.
It felt. Anyway, that's in the past, and I suppose you've got to come back stronger. Although this season has not been the case. But this is good stuff, and he looks as likely as anybody
51.
on this showing to be here at the weekend. It's only a couple of...
59.
Yes, Gilbert was a long way in front at 3-2. Almost 60 points in front, and the man who you can see sitting down over there, Robbie Williams,
60.
eventually won the frame, but it's touch and go who wins the decider.
Well, Wilson here needs 2 more pots, and he should be over the line. And there's a chance, potentially, to make another century.
$65.
Well, very impressive start this from Kyren Wilson. We've only been going 22 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if
73.
this goes in and it's not an easy one, then it could be on for another big break, but it's a tough one. No problem.
74.
Might be an opportunity to play the pink and get that back on its spot as well. So it's a good break. It's pretty fluent. I mean, you're never going to see a really quick break from him, but it was very efficient.
74.
Punished the initial mistake from Brown. He potted a red, missed the pink. Kyren Wilson 74, and so firmly on top. Really playing good stuff so far. Halfway to victory already at 2-0. Oh dear.
It looked like it was going to happen, didn't it, from the moment he hit it, actually. We saw Jimmy White face was one of those. I was watching that decider on Discovery Plus last night, and he was in this position, and he had all the... He could get through to the black, and he just basically just
Green.
put his cue down the middle of the table, just hit the black anywhere. Got away with it. Anyway, nominated green here. Kyren. Yeah, I always thought that was a little bit too wide. I think he'd be offered the chance to play it again. Can't see any reason why he wouldn't.
Yep.
He probably will learn from that initial shot.
It's Jerry. Don't think I could get through the gaps.
Yes, I think Kyren is actually telling Terry Camilleri that he couldn't get access to a gap that was put there when the balls were initially replaced. Oh, he's missed it on the other side this time. Slightly over-adjusted.
Jordan BrownScottish.
Well, we know who the winner now will play. Dave Gilbert has beaten Robbie Williams 4-3. Quite a few deciders already this afternoon. So Gilbert through. It's, by the way, 3-1 to Andrew Higginson against Mark Davis. Higginson's had 130 there, because back on tour through the Q School after a few years away. Oh dear.
He's really struggling, isn't he? I mean, I can see why he wanted to hit that red on the thin side for contact to get back, because the red on the right, it was kind of in play for the safety shot heading back to bulk. But missing it altogether and allowing Kyren Wilson the chance again, it's not been a happy afternoon so far. Well, that's a nice shot, because he's held the cue ball and pushed the other red out. So, I mean, there's a chance it could be away again. It's very early in the frame to be saying that, but it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, the problem with Jordan Brown here, you know, if you make a bad start in a short match like this, it sort of magnifies almost every time you come to the table. And he's made another mistake, which could be costly.
7.
He's had a long wait, hasn't he, from the first match he won in this event, which was 6 weeks ago. We look forward to coming up here, but it's turned into a nightmare.
I don't know what the longest ever wait between rounds is, but it might have been that year when they played all those qualifiers in the summer. And, well, from the final
you know, the guys who'd qualified made it there. The form that they'd displayed to qualify had evaporated in a lot of cases.
21.
Anyway, things have changed, of course, now. But yeah, relatively, I suppose 6 weeks these days, quite a long time.
I think it's very tough to get the calendar right. I mean, you know, everyone said, oh, well, the qualifiers for this event should be the week before. Yeah, in theory, I'm sure everyone would like that, but it's not easy to make that happen with other events part of the calendar. And I know one thing, the season's long and players come in out of form. Judd Trump had a golden spell, which is just coming to an end a bit now. Maybe Kyren Wilson is hitting form at a good time. Oh, that's such a good split. That cue ball just zipped back through those. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, he's playing some really good stuff here, and what a chance now for 3-0.
$37.
Might not be delighted with that positional shot on the black. It's not a perfect angle. He's got to force this. But nothing's stopping him at this stage.
44.
It's absolutely flying start to this match, isn't it, from Kyren? From the very outset, he's looked good.
$51. $56.
Well, they are just half an hour. This match has been in progress, and it looks certain to go 3-0. Ooh, that was heading for the jaw.
Yeah, that was touch and go. I don't know what happened there, but it still fell in. Yeah, I mean, he didn't get a kick or anything. He sort of hit it thinner than the natural potting angle, and maybe he just didn't look at it very much, thinking about the next shot, which is something players do a lot.
65.
Never a good move. Anyway, this next pot will be, if it goes in, taking the Kyren Wilson beyond snooker's required. Jordan Brown seemingly not in this match at all yet, and at 3-0 down, something is going to change very dramatically.
Well, that was an extraordinary stat, wasn't it? He's not even spent 3 minutes at the table in the whole match. Just mishit a safety in this frame. He missed the pink in the previous one. It's just been a nightmare. And of course, part of that nightmare is how well Kyren Wilson's playing.
$94.
What a good rest shot. I mean, he's one of the better players in the world with the rest, but it still remained quite a difficult pot. And really, this could have been 3 back-to-back centuries. And it's only the middle frame of the 3 in which it didn't quite happen for him.
Superb stuff, this.
102.
Absolutely relentless, in fact.
104.
Just seizing on every chance. Of course, he did pop the initial red off the Jordan Brown break, snooking himself on all the colours. But that poor safety from Brown opened the door again. Jordan Brown has got a sort of bewildered look on his face, hasn't he? Just sat there wondering what's going on.
$111.
Come here, I'm sure, feeling good about his game. Looking forward to the challenge, looking forward to the match in general, but he's played virtually no part in it.
116. 122.
So 126 in the first, 74 in the second, 129 in the third. What a performance this is from Kyren Wilson. Seriously impressive. And in just 34 minutes, he's put himself on the cusp of victory here. 3-0. He needs one more, and he's in round 3. Now, of course, if he does come through, as seems likely now, he will play Dave Gilbert, who's defeated Robbie Brown.
He's
just been a spectator, really. He can change, of course. You know, he's capable of doing this, but he's going to have to do it soon.
Wrong. He's just played it a little better and missed that red on the right side. But that's how things initially were fed back to Kyren Wilson in frame 2 at the beginning. Always got to get over the line in these matches. I mean, it's 3-0 up and cruising, but sometimes the frame to get you the victory can be a little bit more difficult to win. Not always, but very often.
Things not getting any better, are they, for the Antrim man?
No, and you might see a kiss on the blue and think, well, I mean, he's got to play a rest shot here potentially, but again, we've said it before, it doesn't always phase Kyren Wilson if he does need the rest for this. Red to the right corner, because he's pretty good with it.
Well, it seems to be sort of breaking news, doesn't it, if he misses one with the rest? And not all the same shots, obviously. Some are harder than others. Let's see how he gets on with this one.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't play, they might think, well, what difference is there? But it is a different sort of technique. And, you know, he's 5 from 5 with the rest today. But I can't think there's been a player just below the black spot. If so, well, he could be away again here. Moving the reds on the black spot out of the way and staying for the black.
8.
Well, again, it's not the worst. I don't know if he can just run this in and play onto the black into the left corner, whether it's a little close quarters. It's sort of played, because he's so good with the rest, he could play this with left-hand side just to help him get on the black, but most players wouldn't use side with the rest. It's, you know, a little bit adding to the degree of difficulty of the shot. So whether he can stay for the black here, I don't know. Take a good shot. Now deciding against it. For once, the cue ball has run a little out of control.
16.
Didn't mean to hit it anywhere near as hard as that. Well, from the overhead, it's sometimes difficult to tell. He might be able to get through to a red here. Goodness, he can get through to both reds. Well, more of the same.
Well, this is his chance now, isn't it, to get it won? Pot success at 98% for Kyren Wilson.
27.
One of the balls he missed, it was the end of that 74 break in frame 2 where the frame was well and truly won anyway.
Yeah, in live play, nothing's been missed, has it? It's been terrific. Very, very impressive.
We've heard players, and Dave Gilbert was one of them if you were with us between frames on Discovery Plus, talking themselves down. Gary Wilson was actually. But Kyren Wilson doesn't do that. He's got a lot of self-belief.
36.
He'll be delighted with his performance. He's been sort of waiting for this really all season, and could be a real springboard for not just the rest of this week, but the rest of this campaign.
$43. 44.
Well, this really has been one-sided. Look at the table.
Kyren played. So just one ball is all he's potted.
Yeah, it was frame 2, wasn't it? And then he missed the pink straight away.
Yeah. And you get quirks of sort of stats sometimes, don't you? And you get matches that are one-sided that on paper look very tight. Don't forget Jordan Brown, when they played recently in China, came out on top in this in their match. But when you're sitting in the chair, you're not going to come out on top. Pretty helpless at this game, and that's what it's been like. It's been a real display from Kyren Wilson. Played absolutely beautifully. That cue has been going through very straight. I know that's the game, but it's very hard to keep getting that cue to go through straight because I'm moulding your body around it. But he is a very straight cure at the best of times.
64.
Today, especially so. It's been fantastic, actually.
Well, here we are, 43 minutes after play began. This black is match ball. What a performance this has been. Devastating. Look at the total points. 401
71.
counting, place 13, and as Neil says, 12 of those 13 points for Jordan Brown were from fouls.
$72.
So Kyren Wilson kind of playing catch-up a bit this season with some of the other players, but there's still time. And if he carries on like this, my word, he'll take some stopping.
77.
Two reds, two blacks from here is 100 exactly, regardless of that red on the
85.
cushion.
Yeah, if he can't play onto the black, he will need to
92.
pot that last red now. And he won't be able to play on the black here, I don't think. So, to make the century happen,
93.
the more awkward red is required, although not much seems very awkward to him this afternoon. And that's perfectly on the blue to get behind the red. And he is a right-hander, so you'd fancy him, although as good as he is with the rest, this would be a missable one. It'd be a pity if he didn't make the century, but either way, you can be sure one thing, he's through with his best performance of the season by a mile.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Can he just complete it with the third century? Oh, it wriggles in. It wriggles in. He wasn't sure, I don't think.
99.
Well, what a display from the Warrior. Black for third century to round off victory. Absolutely brilliant.
106.
Well, 4 in 4 would have been quite something. 3 in 4 and break of 74, still outstanding. Game over.
6 frame and match.
Well, completely one-sided. Jordan Brown really was just a spectator there. He spent less than 4 minutes at the table. Kyren Wilson, 126, 74, 129, 106. A brilliant display.